talk about the journey to self-reflecting or even trusting your inner guidance when in practice of maybe listening to your intuition or what feels right for you, and maybe the ways in which we practice our psychic abilities, or even how we connect to spirit or the spirit within ourselves, or even God. And I just want to enlighten any conversation around that you may be having with yourself, if this is maybe what you are pondering lately. That if we imagine consciousness as like the internet and like web pages, right? A lot of web pages are available out there, and now that we know a lot about the dead internet and how there's like bots and all these things that are maybe like matrix made, quote unquote, but there are genuine bloggers out there, real people who are writing real content because of things that they have experienced, right? And so if you look at consciousness as that, there's many different forms and waves of consciousness as like web pages. And whenever you are logging on, meaning like even when you wake up or when you're asleep, I mean, it's at all times, and I feel like that's what the internet is. It's all time, every day, all day. When you go onto the internet, you are searching for something. Sometimes you're not searching for something, so sometimes you just land on a search engine page, right? And they have like so many different variations of like tabs and things that you could click on because of your interest, or even scrolling through Instagram, right? Like you really, a lot of times I find myself going on there for one particular reason, and then as soon as I get on there, I forget because of all the distractions, right? So when you log onto the internet, i.e. when you are opening yourself to like expanding your consciousness or practicing your intuition or your psychic gifts and like the direction you're headed in life, you want to have a clear purpose and reason why you are opening yourself up to this thing, or maybe you just intuit that you know it's time for you to open up to something new. So when you log onto the internet, it helps, though it's not always necessary, but it helps to have a clear understanding of what it is that you want to open yourself up to. So why I say this all is because a lot of times we neglect the fact that we are living our own unique experience, and all of these things like technology are almost like an afterthought. That's not our original state, you know? And these days, I only want to talk about it in this way because this is what we have available. But in these days, we want to make sure that we do continue to come back to a state of understanding ourselves and what we need, what our purpose is, what we feel we're being guided to, and trusting that. And there's so much mistrust within ourselves that we do tend to get very confused on what even feels right for us. So I implore you to check in with yourself as much as possible, if not even more so now than ever before, because we are moving into, I mean, we're always moving into something so much more expanded, but again, like time and time again, we come to this place of like, all right, we're moving through a season of like, all right, I'm not really feeling super great because of maybe the political situation or worldly affairs at large, or, you know, there's so many things that we could get caught up in, and boiling all that down, it stems from a place of like, am I trusting myself or am I not trusting myself? Because we've been pumped to believe that we shouldn't, and that we should rely on other people's perspectives and ideas, and it simply just doesn't serve the mass collective. And again, it's not always the thing that's necessary to know exactly, because that's how we learn certain things and how we do tend to expand in like new ideas and thoughts that maybe feel right for us, that we can get a piece of the information to then come back to ourselves to ask the deeper questions. Does this really feel good for me? And if not, how can I seed a little bit of it but still transform in the way that makes the most sense for the path and experience that I'm on or want to have, or can feel that my spirit and soul is wanting to have. So really ringing home, checking in with yourself lately, even more so than we have in the past, because there is this North Node in Pisces that will be here for, I think, I could be wrong, but 18 plus months. It's like 13 or 18. I can't remember the exact month date. Don't quote me. I'm not an astrologist, but I do dabble in astrology. But anyway, the North Node in Pisces, what I understand of it is we will be expanding into new thought realms, and our psychic intuitive abilities, a lot of us are coming on board to new things that we didn't even know were possible to experience, and or we're perfecting understanding the awareness of these things and integrating them. So if you're coming on board with like even listening to like really what you're being guided through and to every single day, and how that relates to maybe something that was like sprinkled in even like when we were young, like you were in middle school or even younger than that, when things were kind of like seeded, and then you were told that like, or you're made to believe that these things are not real, or magic isn't real, or what you're feeling isn't valid, like all of these things that we were told, but we were feeling them so heavily. All of that may be coming back on board for you to even just acknowledge that like you have to be the one to say that this is real, this feels good for me, and then associate it with the path and journey that you're on. So checking into this consciousness awareness, I think about how we kind of like hop onto these ideas, and then we kind of like ride it out for a little bit and like feel how that has resonated for us before, and maybe how we want to implement them further. And maybe there's something that we really feel empowered by that we want to take long term, that actually initiates our biggest transformation and growth. And so I just wanted to talk about any of that and hope that that lands with you. And I appreciate anybody who has listened this far, because this feels really good for me to share and talk about, especially to people who are interested in these conversations. It's everything that I love and everything that I'm about. So I look forward to speaking with whoever in the next one, and sooner than later.